Welcome to Good News to Go. I'm Mabel.
And I'm Ren.
And we're bringing you the brightest stories from around the globe.
This week, we're unveiling the world's tallest 3D printed structure.
And learning more about the weird science behind tickling.
Diamonds are being used to power batteries, and tragic drownings motivate 10,000 swimming lessons.
And a three-legged turtle is released back into the wild after rehab. 5 fast feel-good stories. Have you ever wondered why some spots on your body are more ticklish than others?
Or why you can't tickle yourself?
Well, scientists are trying to figure all of this out by opening a Tickle Lab at a university in the Netherlands to study the phenomenon.
And what makes this lab the first of its kind is that it's aiming to standardize tickle experiments, which is a really big issue in the scientific community, to better understand the brain's response.
Yeah, so researchers would make participants sit in a chair with a plate that has like 2 holes in it, and they would stick their feet in, and then a mechanical stick would tickle their toes instead of like a person in case the touch would influence it. And while this is happening, the neuroscientists monitor their brain activity, heart rate, and other reactions.
No, that's actually why I could never be a part of this experiment, because I have the world's most ticklish feet. Getting pedicures is torture. Whenever I get a massage, I literally say, skip my feet. It's not enjoyable.
No, pedicures are like very embarrassing for that reason. Well, like I feel like I was really ticklish when I was younger, and I still am, but I've like grown out of it a little bit. So maybe as you get older, it kind of goes away. Maybe these scientists will get to the bottom of it.
The world's tallest 3D printed structure, known as the White Tower, now stands 100 feet tall in a tiny Swiss like mountain village.
It was built using custom fast-setting concrete and robotic precision, and the tower features 32 sculpted columns that spiral upwards. It kind of looks like a wedding cake.
Well, the design pays homage to the region's rich history of pastry making, symbolizing the artistry of local confectioners who once spread their craft across Europe.
And beyond its like architectural beauty, the White Tower really helps with tourism in a much needed kind of sparse area.
Yeah, the tiny village that it's in, their population is down to 11 residents.
That's literally crazy. And so the tower now houses a 32-seat theater offering like panoramic views of the Alps that are nearby. And this is a pretty big milestone in 3D printing because it's the first time that 3D elements are actually load-bearing.
If you find yourself in the area, you can take a tour of the structure, and theatrical performances are set to begin, which is providing a platform for cultural expression and community engagement.
Following the drownings of 15 school children in his area, a man in Southwest India started a swimming club that's taught more than 10,000 people how to handle themselves safely in the water.
So determined to make a difference, Saji Velacero started offering just free swimming lessons in the local Periyar River.
Yeah, he offered 16 days of training to help people overcome their fear of water and learn basic survival swimming techniques.
And then over the years, his swimming club has ballooned, and he's taught 10,000 people, including children, the elderly, and even the visually impaired.
And swimming really isn't like a big thing in South Asia. Like people don't have pools, but there's a lot of rivers, so there are a lot of drowning. So his club focused on just making people feel comfortable in the water.
And the participants are trained in various techniques, from floating to actually swimming across the river. And all of these lessons take place with safety measures like boats and medical support on hand.
And apparently one of his teenage students set a record in the Asian Book of Records for the longest open sea swim by a minor, and another is preparing to swim the English Channel. A groundbreaking innovation from the UK is using a carbon-14 diamond as a battery that would last thousands of years. And this is the first time that gems have been used like in battery technology.
Yeah, so scientists at the UK's Atomic Energy Authority developed this battery to harness the power of a diamond's radioactive decay to generate electricity.
The first diamond battery experiment actually goes back to 2016, so they've been trying to do this for a while. And so this one was grown in a purpose-built plasma deposition rig, which is kind of like a vacuum chamber. And the carbon-14 was extracted from graphite blocks, which is a byproduct of nuclear fission reactors.
And the duration of this battery is honestly the craziest part, because this type of diamond has a half-life of approximately 5,700 years.
Insane.
So the battery could potentially provide power for thousands of years without any degradation.
And this diamond battery could power medical devices like pacemakers and hearing aids, which would reduce the need for frequent surgeries to replace those batteries. It would also be super helpful in powering spacecrafts and satellites, where maintenance is obviously very difficult.
Oh wow, I will be looking at my diamond jewelry differently now. The next story is dear to my heart because I love turtles. So a sea turtle named Dilly Dally made a return, you could say a triumphant return, to the wild after surviving a predator attack that cost her her front flipper.
Yeah, I didn't know that you were like obsessed with turtles until we looked into this story. But after being rescued in January with like severe injuries, Dilly Dally underwent surgery to remove the damaged flipper.
And then she had to stay in the hospital for 5 months to heal. But then just a couple weeks ago, she was released back into the Atlantic Ocean at Juno Beach, Florida.
And apparently these like limb amputations are really common among sea turtles. So they like rehab pretty quickly and relearn how to swim after, which is good because I was kind of like, wouldn't it just die in the wild if it was released? But these types of organizations really help rehab turtles before releasing them.
She's the first 3-flippered turtle to be equipped with a satellite tracker, which will help monitor her journey and also contribute to conservation efforts.
And that's a wrap for this week's Good News to Go. That was a really good lineup.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss a story.
See you next week for more Good News to Go.